Welcome everyone to some more Maplestory. And also it's kind of loud. Let me go to next map. Okay, it's probably not that loud, but it's fine. And today I'm gonna be doing just like the usual. Technically it was just going to be me level grinding, like EXP grinding, getting more EXP on this character. But I kind of forgot to do my dailies. So that is what I'm gonna be doing. Go to a different map. This one's too quiet. Yeah, I forgot to do my dailies because yesterday... Okay, so basically I usually do my dailies right after reset, which is like 8 p.m. EST for me. And, however, yesterday, I didn't, because, okay, so I looked into what will be in the next update for Global, which is, the Destiny update that happened in, KMS and I think one other server. I didn't check. In that update, the entire Explorer storyline is getting revamped. It's the same story, just played out differently, basically, from what I've looked through. And part of what I did yesterday was that I wanted to level all my Explorer characters on Scania, which is all the available ones, to make sure they did the entire old version of the storyline that's still in the game before the new one comes out. And from looking through it, like parts of it, I didn't really see videos related to it. I might be creating a new Explorer character to go through the entire story. Of course, there's that chance that I think existing Explorer characters can still do it, but I want to play from the tutorial so we could see the new stuff at the start, because I know that when existing Explorers were still around before the Red update, and when that update happened, like, you obviously cannot do the tutorial, so that is what I mean. And also, okay, there's one thing I forgot to do last time that I said I would do, but I didn't. So, as you know, okay, yeah, this is all before I get started with today. Anyway, so one thing I talked about was the antagonist T-Boy, who I mentioned his real name, which is revealed in the next storyline after Hotel Arcus, is Nicky Angler. And obviously in Reverse City, we know that he is the younger brother of Senya, who is an antagonist who is quite difficult. Let's say that. She appeared in the Detective Rave and the Hotel Arcus storylines, and will obviously appear more. I mean, she did appear in Reverse City, but not really, just in a transmission. And one thing I wanted to show was that, okay, the next update will have the storyline where T-Boy/Nicky appears as, like, for the first time without his helmet thing. And I kind of want to show you guys what he looks like because he looks so adorable. I like compared this with a hamster, like, okay, we're like a hamster, they'd be like, I am evil, fear me, but you're just like, aw, what an adorable little hamster. Okay, it's kind of weird to say that, considering he did commit evil acts and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, there's something about him that makes me think of Orchid. If anyone still, like, recalls a lot of her, circumstances? Which sprite should I show? Because how does the sprite show up? Okay, it shows up like that. So let's go click one of these. Where's this like most default expression? I guess this one. So, okay, I'm not sure how this is gonna show up on stream, but I kind of want to show you guys this like face. It's fine because, oh yeah, you guys see my background and the corner of my thing. But this is on the wiki, but they put it seems like now they like have the Like, even if it's not in global, they'll have it edited and, like, posted on, like, the wiki now. Like, if it's immediately already in KMS. I think. But on his page, it's still up to, Reverse City. So, but he do have his sprites. And, like, this is, like, what he looks like. And he's so adorable. I know that's not the point. But I mean, that is the point of why I showed that. But he's so cute. Even though he's evil. He's an antagonist and evil. But yeah, that is all I wanted to show. I could show the rest of the sprites, because the rest of his sprites are actually on there. Including one where, like, I think his helmet is, like, broken, so only the top of it is there. I don't know, that's what it looks like on the sprite. Not sprite, it's portrait art that appears in the dialogue. And also what I noticed is that I think every class, except for Cygnus Knights and some Resistant characters, don't have, like, their own portrait art. I don't know, I just, like, saw that, like, when I was looking through the... when I was, like, looking through the wiki, I noticed that, like, for example, like, Kyle and Tyr / Angelic Buster have, like, portrait art now, and in the upcoming update, like, the Explorer characters will have their own, as well. And I find that really interesting to see. I also changed my damage skin, so now you see how much damage I do much more clearly. And I do a lot of damage. It definitely has to do with, like, the arcane power, but like, a bit, but even so. I do a lot of damage. And I never really noticed, because it's kind of hard to tell with the other damage skins, where they show all the numbers, and it's, like, really hard to see, like, if it's, like, over a certain amount. Oh, I forgot to do this one thing. Oh wait, I can't do it yet. I have to fill in the bottom right corner. Oh yeah, when I do the EXP grind, it will be in the Celos maps instead. Because I like to be in those maps. The music is really nice. Well, only in, like, the first layer. Well, I mean, all the music's nice, but it's kind of ominous in second layer maps. Oh yeah, and also, as you guys saw from me displaying my desktop, I am playing the game windowed, because it's, like, the easiest way for me to, like, tab out of the game and, like, mess with Windows. I don't really like Maplestory full screen on this computer, especially since it's a 1080p resolution. And it's like, at that resolution, it's just so blurry. Well, I mean, that it is stretching out the pixels, but, like, I don't like that. I like to see the very thin, like, pixel details as it is, than it being stretched out. I also like how the Morass quest, like, I noticed this, like, sometime last year when basically I go on and off with Maplestory. And last year when I returned to play Maplestory, I noticed that the Morass quests are done differently, where you just turn all of them into the same character than, like, different NPCs. And I really like that, because it keeps me from having to jump all over the place, find the NPC, and turn in the quest. So, the daily quest. Okay, almost done with this one, and then I had to go to the thralled enemies. I don't have a teleport rock, so I have to walk. and also in terms of the monster collection, I have 429 out of 934 in the thing. And I should probably also mention, I'm obviously not ever going to get that filled out. Because one, the monster blooms, they will only fill in entries of 3-star rarity and below. And two, I doubt any of you would see me, like, fight, or, like, fight any of the later bosses, like Lucid and Will. Considering that, I don't think I will ever, like, fight those bosses on my own. Oh yeah, anyway, so like the Maplestory wiki, which I did show like with like the sprites of like T-Boy without his helmet and with his real name on there. Like I really like how the wiki has been put together now, because before there wasn't much like detailed like written summary. I think there was for like at least like the Arcane River stuff. But other than that, the website was pretty much not like touched upon too much. But I really like how that's changed like recently. And I say recently because the last time we checked, it was like, it wasn't that much like done to it or something. So I'm really glad to see like a lot of this has happened with it. The wiki. Like, especially for people who like to read about like the story. Like, it's really nice. And I like it because there are some like parts of the lore that I didn't really know or wasn't sure if it was like true, because I couldn't like figure out where it was like stated. Like, I mean, like, I could read the quest and understand that way, obviously, but it's like sometimes it's like all over the place and it's hard to keep track. So like I like how the how it's neatly put together in yeah, the wiki. Quick teleport. Oh yeah, also I should probably point this out. I plan to do the Moonbridge storyline, which is basically Tenebrous Part 1. Oops. I think next Maplestory stream, like after so long, I'll finally be able to do it. Well, I mean, I'm already able to do it. As you can tell, I'm already like at the required level. Ah, right, Espera next. I want to be careful not to put my mouse over my thing. Okay. What else to talk about? Ooh, what's that damage skin? It's like food themed. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, oh yeah, basically like, yeah, so like on the wiki, thanks to the wiki, like basically, yeah, there's like a lot of lore stuff, and also it's been a long time, so I didn't really know too much, as I used to. But I like how, like, because thanks to, like, the more detailed, like, summaries of, like, characters and, like, some story stuff, I know that some NPCs still have yet to, like, their pages are still, like, not detailed yet. But I love how, like, for example, Luminous's page, like, actually described more, like, written more of, like, his origins that were, like, revealed. Because, like, it's been a long time, especially since my Luminous is only level 130 something. Basically, I like the more in-depth detail. It's really nice. And like, yeah, because like I remember like reading some parts of it, and I'm just like, wait, how did Luminous came to be? Because he's like, in the lore, he's he's basically the Black Mage's light, like, turned like human or something. I don't know. Basically, they described him as like the Star Child, and I was like, I didn't really remember where that was in the lore, or like the explanation like in detail. Like I didn't know the detail of like what, and like so when I like checked this page, it like it perfectly explained it, and I'm like, I really like that. So yeah, that's like an example. Oh yeah, and also as well as Phantom's like story, because like I didn't really know too much of his own like lore either. Especially since like his when you first create Phantom in a game, like the tutorial, like unlike the other hero characters, legends I mean, they like all of them except for Phantoms like are like, okay, not all of them, but like among the original legend characters, Phantom's the only one that wasn't taking place like centuries ago. So like it was like I was like didn't know things. So yeah. Basically, long story short, the wiki is very helpful when you want to read the lore and may have forgotten about it after playing the game for so long and created the characters ages ago. Okay, another portal spawned, and I need to make sure I buff up. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, when I showed one of the NPC portrait artwork related to T-Boy, Nikki, I should probably also point out, I forgot to point out that like, obviously the sprites are definitely like from like the next storyline, because, oh yeah, obviously, I did double check, and yeah, they only appear in the next storyline that we're getting in global, like, at least a month from now. Actually, maybe not a month from now, because, Camus got the... I think it was, like, part 3 of the update. I'm not sure if it'll be part 3 again, but it'll probably. And, basically, like, because, like, it's set after Reverse City, obviously, like, you see that his face has the scar from the bullet, that's, like, yeah. Like, you see it on his face. Of course, like, the sprites on the page, like, are kind of, like, showing it on the wrong side of his face, because it's actually on his left. But of course, the NPC artwork show up with them facing the other way, so... it's like on the incorrect side of his face. Also, when I saw his like artwork for the first time, I remember like what was like said by Senya in Reverse City, and I'm like, how could you say this? Like, look at him. Because she basically called him ugly. And I'm like, how could you say this when he looks like this? Like, he looks so adorable. He literally looks like his sister, just obviously, yeah. Okay, cancel this because I don't want to do that. Oh yeah, the little mini game that pops up every like quarter after and before the hour, like that little mini game is really difficult to play as my main because my main has like a lot of effects around her that it makes. Oh, someone's here. Oh gosh. Like, my main has a lot of effects around her that make it, like, impossible for me to do, like, the jump quest minigame thing. Because I can barely see the ground or, like, the edges of the ground as this character. Oh, yeah, I should also mention that once I start grinding, I will be using the skill I put on my F key. Literally, it's on my F key. And that one changes the background music for like 30 seconds. So, yeah. It's a really useful skill, although I wish I could just like turn off the music from it. Well, that, and I also play the game like without the audio on, like most of the time. Only because, like, I watch a lot of YouTube videos on the side, so obviously having the background music on and stuff is, like, distracting. Oh, and also when I was, like, reading, like, okay, basically it's not written on, like, T-Boy/Nikki's page on the wiki. But it is written in the next region's page on the wiki, which is like they put a whole like extra page for the story explanation. But basically, from reading that and knowing the reverse city situation, why does it seem like T-Boy is okay? Despite being antagonist, he's very like doesn't have the best relationship with his sister or father. Like. I'm like, okay, he's an antagonist, but has the worst relationship with his family. And I'm like, that is just sad. I think that includes his dad. I know, like, his sister just mean and bullies him verbally, but, like, from what I read, like, it seems like he doesn't have a good relationship with his dad either. Based on the story that comes up next. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm okay with talking about this because it already has been released once, and that's through KMS. So I'm okay with talking about it because I feel like Maplestory, it's like one of those games where it's okay to talk about the story. Like even if it's not in English yet, or you know, in global yet. It's just easier for me. Or just like, I'd like to. Oh, whoops. I forgot I have that as a mount. Oh yeah, speaking of which, as anyone knows, I have so many chairs. So many chairs. And and it's like, wait, there's more chairs. More chairs. Yeah, I kind of collect chairs a lot on this character. It's like at this point, I just collect them just because I want to. I definitely know I missed a few chairs from not playing the game for like 3-4 months, but that's okay. But yeah, I collect chairs. And mounts. How many mounts do I have now? I have like a lot. I get that soaring skill. I have so many I was about to call this chairs, it's mounts. after this like event shop, I'll stop collecting chairs and mounts on this character. Actually, maybe just keep collecting the chairs, but the mounts, I'll start collecting them on a different character. Oh yeah, I also realized because I made my second highest level character at level 2, like, is now level 220. I just realized you can't really, like, do, like, the event, like, fight enemies within level range because I didn't progress to, Lacha Lane with that character. Yeah, I realized that. So unfortunately, that character of mine is forever stuck in Vanishing River. Although he's technically my second main. Well, not really second. Oh, technically yes, but I haven't really messed around too much. And also, it's exhausting to do all the dailies. The idea I have is that I want to keep, the idea is that I do want to level up his arcane symbols. His, because I created a arc character, by the way. But it's like also like arcane symbols are so pricey to level up. I did kind of, when I was like looking through like this blog that talks about the Camus like updates, I think the next update will reduce how much the level up cost for arcane symbols is. I think so. Like, they will lower the cost of them. So, it's definitely a good idea if I wait. Yeah, I think it'll be a good idea if I wait. How many do I have until... Oh, I just realized it'll be a bit. Well, technically right now it's the 204, but I plan to get the sunlight thing. Oh, I'm done. Oh, I'm still not maxed out with the sunlight thing. Have to make sure I do that. Because I want to make sure I get the event stuff done. Oh yeah, so you notice I'm not doing the other thing that gives me more arcane symbols because I'm lazy. Oh, I almost thought about clicking that. No, don't click on the thing. Yeah, okay, I just have like the, if I do my dailies tonight. Yeah, so 100, oh wait, no, it's not close. What's close? I'll be like level 19. What? The thing is, like, if they're reducing the cost for arcane symbols, like, next update, then I definitely should not. Whatever I do, do not upgrade them yet, is the idea. So I'm gonna make sure I don't do that. Also, I'm gonna do the money grind real quick. Okay, this will only take a second. Okay, not really a second, but it'll take like, it'll be really quick. I should do this on more characters if I feel like it, because I do need more mesas on other characters. I do have a lot on this character, but most of it is saved for arcane symbols. Level ups. Speaking of which, I should definitely... I need to play my arc again. I think I'm gonna try to get my arc up with the arcane symbols, so he's like up to date. Because my arc is level 220 and he's still stuck in Vanishing River. thing, not really related to Maplestory. Well, of course it's not related. It's not even the same game. But, as y'all know, as I mentioned a few times, and obviously, as anyone could tell from my videos, like the VODs uploaded, I play Genshin Impact. And why is this not... There we go. And, earlier today, it seems that, things are back on track after the situation in, Shanghai cleared up, I guess. I mean, that would be the... Basically, I looked into it more after last time, and yeah, they're, like, back, they're slowly getting back to work. What was that a couple days ago already? Basically, it's, like, because things are now resuming, like, the, for, like, their games, they'll finally be able to, like, keep working on their games. And the update, and for Genshin Impact in particular, their update is now resumed. So, at the end of the month, the game will actually finally get, update 2.7. With tomorrow being the premiere stream to explain, like, what's gonna happen in that update and all that. Which is gonna be interesting. And I can't wait because I do want to know who the voice actors will be for new characters that'll be in that update. Like, honestly, as I've said, like, on previous streams, which most of them were art streams, I didn't mind waiting, and I didn't mind the delay, since the only thing I cared about was knowing who the voice actors are gonna be for new characters. Like, that was literally all I cared about. And I didn't really care about the delay too much. Especially since the delay has gotten me to play this game again. And I missed it so much. Okay, now that we're here, I could finally... Okay. So what I'm gonna do... I have so many of these. Okay, okay, first off... Sorry, I just want to look at the maps. We are going to be using this, and we're going to be here for 2 hours. Okay. Let's go. So this is where I usually grind for EXP. Usually. Because it's been a while. And also I keep getting hit by these things. Stop. Stop, enemies. Ah, perfect. Okay, so... Oh, right. Coupon. I get these. There. So now we're gonna be doing this for the next 2 hours. As I probably talk about a bunch of stuff. Oh, and also make sure I do the event thing completely. I forgot I don't have it maxed out yet. I have been giving the extreme growth potions to my other characters, obviously. I love how I changed my damage skin here because I can actually see, like, I could actually see how much like, I could actually see how much damage I'm doing. Like, in simpler terms. Because seeing a bunch of numbers, like, without, like, any indication clearly is pretty difficult. I think that makes sense. Because obviously, like, I knew I did a lot of damage, but it was kind of hard to tell. And yes, like I am playing Angelic Buster, and Angelic Buster naturally does a lot of damage, but like I mean, like some of my own characters still do so much damage. Like not as much, but they still do at least over at least one of them does over 1 million. And I do have an arcane weapon. Oh yeah, a bit of fun fact about that. The arcane weapon, I have one because at some point, I don't remember, but at some point, basically, like, the Maple admin NPC, like, the game updated and gave, like, players, like, to, get, like, a lot of goodies, from, like, the Maple admin NPC. And one of them was an arcane weapon. And that's how I got the arcane weapon, as well as, like, a bunch of arcane symbols. And a lot of those got me to finally, like, max out, like, at least, like, one of my arcane symbols. I think the very first one. It was, like, before I did Espera, I think. I actually don't remember. I think I have to see my old videos to find out. And I kind of don't want to do that because some of my old videos are kind of broken on desktop. Okay, doing this again. I really like to get more EXP. I just really want to get closer to 250. Even if I do, it's gonna be even harder to level past that because, like, there's only been, like, level up potions that go up to, 250. Like, as far as I know, there hasn't been any that are, like, from 250 to 260. So, like, anyone who's above level 250, they just have to, like, level up, grind a lot, get a lot of the things. You know, all that stuff. Now we got 39%. It should be around, like, mid 40%. Between 40 and 50% by the stream. I like how, like, above a certain level, like, they show, like, 3 decimal places for the percent. Because it's just more satisfying to look at, because before it wasn't much like that, and I was like, how long is it taking me? Okay, it's still, like, same progress, still, but still. Give sunlight. There we go. I'll give more magic attack. Even though it would probably make more sense to do normal attack. Oops. I accidentally used the wrong skill. Oh yeah, in terms of, like, the V skills, I've only, like, for, like, increasing, like, my forced job skills. I mean, like, the other skills, not just, like, forced job. I only, like, focus on, like, specific ones. So, like, the dash one I didn't really bother with. Because it's just, like, pushing enemies. Oh, right. This thing. Oh, yeah, something I noticed in Celos, at least, is that, the enemies here don't have entries in the monster collection. Nor does anything past, like, Tenebrous, so, like, the Cernium and stuff. Which I don't really mind, because that means it's like, well, time to level like crazy and get to that point. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't. Okay, I'm still fighting enemies. Yeah, they don't. It's just up to, like, the theme dungeon. So, like, because I'm pretty sure, like, if you check, like, map, click, yeah, Grandis, you see these. Yeah. Gosh, I was about to call it Mora. No, it's Mesas. Oh yeah, that's something interesting about the games I've been playing recently. Because I played a lot of Genshin for, like, since December 2020. Okay, not really, like, a lot, but I frequently play it just to do the dailies. And figure out artifacts. But, because I played Genshin since December 2020... I have been calling the in-game currencies in other games Mora, even though it's not. And the best example so far is that I've been playing Trails of Cold Steel 3 and Cold Steel 4. And speaking of which, I haven't played through Cold Steel 4 completely yet. I paused because I got busy. And I got to a point where I finally got to see the spoiler I knew for 2 years. Okay, technically a year and a half, but it was something I wanted to see for 2 years. And I got to see it. And that sort of, like, made me slow down with my progress because I finally got to see what I wanted to see after so long. Although there's still another thing I want to see, like, a cute, fluffy, lovey-dovey scene that hasn't happened yet. By my choice. Because it's a bit later in the game. Because in the Cold Steel Saga, similar to Trails of Azure? Trails to Azure? What was the official English name again? Like, oh yeah, by the way, for Trails, I watched the Crossbow duology and fan translation, first. Because, it hasn't been in English officially, but it's now going to be, but Azure is not until next year. I'll still re-experience it officially. Like, technically the translation is the same as, technically, from what I know, the translation is actually the same, or like almost the same as the fan translation. Like, they got permission to use it. The what people have called is the Geofront translation. Basically, it's they have permission to use that version of the translation because it's easiest and like, so they don't have, since, like, people have experienced the fan translation more than anything. Like, okay, I don't know the details, but I think that's one of the reasons, because more people know the fan translation. Basically, it's that with some alternate changes, like, to the text, to match up with what was localized in, officially in the, oh, the portal's right here. Like, to match up with what they translated, like, what was translated in the, like, official English releases of the Cold Steel games. So, and other stuff like that. A little disappointed that this doesn't have a dub, but I guess it's like, but they're focusing the dub for, like, obviously when I meant dub, I meant, like, voice acting stuff. I guess, like, part of it could be that they want to focus dubbing the entry that's set after Cold Steel 4. And that's coming next year as well, so I think it's like, yeah. I'm kind of sad though, because I would love to hear, because there's like, I'm not too upset about it, but I'm upset in the sense that, like, there are 3 characters who don't have official English voice actors yet. at least 3, and they appear in the Crossbell arc of this series. Like, as far as I know, they don't appear in Cold Steel 4. They're mentioned in Cold Steel 4, but I doubt they're gonna appear. Like, based on, like, what characters are saying, I don't think they'll appear at all. Which makes me sad, because I wanted to know who would voice them in English. And I would love to see them in the newer style, too. That's why I'm upset. I was like, I want to know, like, who would voice them if they have English voice actors. And I would love to see them in, like, the later entries. And, no, I'm not gonna look up what Trails into Reverie has, because I don't want to get spoiled intentionally with that game. Although, I will say this, with Trails into Reverie, so when it was still being advertised in Japan, so like around like July of 2020, I think, I saw a part of the article that how do I best put this? Basically, the article that I've seen, it was like a random tweet or something. I don't know what it was, but it had screenshots, but of course they were low quality screenshots, so I didn't really get to see much anyway. And in those screenshots, I saw a familiar character in it, with one little difference in like their design, and that had to do with Cold Steel 4. However, like, it was before okay, so basically, okay, I think I had to explain from the beginning. So, from the beginning, okay, so I actually first experienced Trails of Cold Steel 3 through sort of a playthrough. Technically, the person didn't really do everything, they just did the story. And the game ended with a certain scene playing out, and it broke me emotionally. And I was, like, unsure if I could actually still, like... So basically, at the time, I only had experience with Cold Steel 1 and 2 when I was watching Cold Steel 3. So I didn't know anything from the Sky Trilogy or the Crossbell Duology. Like, I knew nothing. But I was like planning to check it out anyway, but I wanted to see the rest of the third game of Cold Steel. And then this scene happened, and I was like, considering who appears in Sky, I'm not sure if I could have the, like, I'm not sure if I'm emotionally prepared to go to Sky because of what happened at the end of Cold Steel 3. And then, because of what happened in Cold Steel 3, I took a peek at a fan translation of Cold Steel 4. And by the way, this was 2019. The localization wasn't even announced yet for Cold Steel 4. So I kind of took a peek at it. Yeah, I stopped after a certain point in the game, like around like, basically, I think it's supposed to be like 30 hours into the game, but I skipped a lot, so it was like 10 hours instead that I've experienced. And, what else? Okay, so basically, I watched parts of Cold Steel 4, but I stopped because, obviously, characters from Sky and Crossbell appeared, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. And if I kept going, I would have missed, like, so many references. So I stopped when I did. But of course, I got a bit lazy, because I decided that I wouldn't, because I saw familiar faces from the Sky and Crossbell duology, And because I knew the Sky trilogy in English had some voice acting, like during the battles, I was like, I'm gonna wait. Until they announced the English cast for, well, not really announce. It's more like they had like these videos where just like you hear their voice lines and stuff. Like, I wanted to wait until like we get to hear them for the first time first. Because when I looked into the Sky trilogy, I noticed that Estelle and Joshua, their voice actors in English, even though it was just for battles, they had professional VAs who've been in the industry for years. Like, at least like even before like the game was released in English, which was 2011. And I was like wondering if they were gonna bring them back specifically, so I waited. And it was worth waiting because it did turn out that they did bring them back. And that's when I properly watched the Sky trilogy. Also, I should... What was it? Yeah, it was... Okay, but also like a little something before I watched the trilogy. I actually saw advertisement for Reverie when it was about to be released in Japan. And I still remember the ending of Cold Steel 3 clear as day. Okay, not literally clear as day, but somewhat clearly. And, about that, what was it? So, like, I saw, like, an article. It was all in Japanese. There was no translation in the post, since it was, like, posted by, like, Japanese fans or, like, the company? I don't know which one. Actually, I don't think the company would post the articles. But basically, someone shared them, and I saw a screenshot with a familiar face with one little detail different about them. And because... Okay, I will say, like, after the Cold Steel 3 ending, I was in complete denial with what happens to, like, certain characters. And when I saw that screenshot, I think, like, in that moment, I was like, was I right to doubt that what happened couldn't have happened? And, spoiler, yes. Yeah, my doubts were correct. I'm not gonna say it, but I did say spoiler, but I wouldn't actually say the spoiler. And... what else? Okay, so basically that's the first time I saw anything about it, even though I wanted to know for months. And, so basically, time went on. I started watching the Sky trilogy sometime after, and as I was going through the trilogy, by the time I was in the third game, I was, like, very much... Okay, basically I remembered what I saw, and I started becoming more and more convinced that what happened to at least one character couldn't have happened. Because I was like, there's no way, with, like, seeing more of their involvement in the story, I was like, there's no way they could have actually done that. And I did kind of go and looked at spoiler on the wiki page, and yeah, I have learned that the character, what happened to them didn't happen officially, although I only knew their status specifically, not anything else, like how it was possible. And it made me more excited to check out Cold Steel 4 officially in English. But of course I had to go through Cold Steel 3, like, basically around the time I decided to play the games myself. So I had pre-ordered actually first, Cold Steel 3, and then I did the same for Cold Steel 4 for the Switch, because I don't have PlayStation. And, yeah, and so, yeah, after I caught up with all the games, up to Cold Steel 3, I finally played through Cold Steel 3 and then 4. And I will say that, Cold Steel 3 on the Switch, it runs well, but I don't know if it's just like I didn't dock the game or not, but there were times where the game froze and I actually had to restart. Like, I know I could just wait it out, but it did actually spend like 5-10 minutes in that state, and I was like, So, like, when I was playing, I had to save frequently, so I didn't lose my progress. So yeah, sometimes it happens like that, but overall, that's right. It has only happened when I was in a town, a city in the game. Like, it didn't happen anywhere else, which I find really unusual. Which is actually a good thing, considering if it happened frequently, that wouldn't be good. So it was mainly like in towns that it happened in. And, yeah. And I remember when I was so close to the end of the game of Cold Steel 3, I was like, I started skipping enemies. Oh yeah, and I was playing on easy because the battles were so difficult. There is a very easy difficulty, but I wanted things to still be a challenge. And it was, because I actually died from like 2 different bosses. Like, the entire team was wiped out from 2 different bosses, so it's like, okay. Okay. And also, what else? Oh, my headset. Another thing is, oh yeah, and as it was near the end of the game, I started like rushing through. I was like, I'm so close to Cold Steel 4. I really want to see this in English, like, officially and stuff. And I was so happy at the time. Like, get to see familiar faces, get to hear them, like, fully voiced. Also, what's interesting is how, like, a lot of people will be like, Estelle sounds different in English and stuff like that. Like, from, like, Trails in the Sky, when she first appeared. And it's like, you guys do have to remember that when they voiced the characters in Sky, it was at least in 2011. And then voicing in Cold Steel 4, that's 9 years later. So I'm like, don't make it sound like it's a bad thing. It's just the fact that it's been 9 years since the voice actor last voiced the character. So yeah, I always find it weird when I see people be like, wow, this character sounds so much different even though it's the same voice actor. And they're talking about, like, the last time they performed, which was over a decade ago. And it's like, you guys do realize voice actors have their voices change over the course of time, right? Like, you at least know that, right? It bothers me sometimes that people are like that. It's like, how do you people not know this? It's literally just how life works. Like, the biology works the more you work as a voice actor. Our voice is naturally going to evolve and change. Yeah, so that's like one thing I remember. It was like when like the Sky characters, like we've heard like some of their voice lines on NIS America Twitter. Anyway, so yeah, and then I played Cold Steel 4, and I'm still judging one particular event, affinity-like event that I did in that game. So basically, I was just using a guide to, like, get all the profile pages unlocked for the characters. And some of them required me to get the heart points for characters, the female characters. And one of them, I hated how it played out. So basically, in the previous game, I already made my choice, and I will say this now, I picked the girl who was basically the protagonist's canon love interest. And I know the game has like the whole like, oh, you can pick whoever kind of thing, but because like of a lot of things, there's one character who like, despite a lot of things, is his canon love interest. And I don't care what people say, I picked her because their moments were so cute. And I took screenshots from the third game. And so basically one of the events where I had to get where I get a heart point no matter what. And it was from a different character, not the character I would pick. I will say later in the game, when I have the option, I will obviously pick the character I want when that happens. But anyways, the point being, character I didn't want to pick, but I had to get their profile page. Something happens in it. And obviously, the entire thing doesn't really happen anyway, because what happens in the event is like, they've been there for days, even though not a single day actually passes in the story. In reality, so that kind of proves that it didn't happen. But I'm not over this one part of it, which bothers me so much, because in real life, if you were to do that to someone, you get in big trouble. From both the person, the receiver, and obviously a lot of other things going on. Basically, it was a situation of, you can't just do that. And in this case, it was from the girl, not the guy. So the guy is the unfortunate victim of the situation. And I'm like, why did they do this in a story? Like, when you do something like that in a story, in real life, you can't just do that. And I know some people will say, oh, but it's meant to be like this, considering what the event is all about. And it's like, okay, yeah, you could say that, but it really borderlines on being very, very bad, especially in real life. So you can't just say it's an okay thing if it's very negative in real life. So, like, it made me not like the girl character anymore. Because, like, if you do that in real life, you get in huge trouble. Like, from all parties. So it's like, you can't just do that. Like, it made me not like the character as much anymore, because you can't just do that to someone. You can't just do that. So yeah, I lost complete points in the character after that, and every single time I see anything about the character, I'm just have like a bunch of distaste of it. Because I'm like, you don't do that. Also, why that character? Why of all the events, that character has to do something like that? It's like, seriously? I know. Okay, I'm not gonna say who the character is. If you know, you know. I'm just saying, just like, if you were to do that particular action in real life, it's basically seen under negative light. Especially if the two characters aren't even, like, pursuing a relationship at all. Like, I just don't like it just because of, like, the circumstances of how, like, it's very a negative thing. Like, if you attempted, yeah. It's nothing like NSFW. It's more like, because the game's T-rated, of course, but like, it's something you cannot just do to anyone because of obvious reasons. It just, like, that scene alone just made me not like the character anymore. Like, because, like, if you were to do that in real life, you're just in big trouble at that point. I am collecting so much misos. Yeah, I think I should go back and try to get my arcane symbols up. I only have one on him because of the obvious reasons. But anyway, so yeah, that's something from Cold Steel 4 I really, really didn't like because of the real life circumstances around it. Like, I only did the event just to get their character page, not to pursue anything. Like, but no, this character had to do something that made me really, really not like them anymore because of the real life consequences of doing that to someone. Yeah. Yeah, as time went on and the more I thought about it and when I looked up, like, basically I looked up, like, a similar thing. And basically it's like, without one's permission, obviously it's considered in a negative light, so. It's nothing like NSFW because obviously, by the obvious fact that it's a T-rated game and all that. And I doubt they would go that far anyway. But it's like, it's something that is like, oh, some people may think it's like, oh, relationship upgrade thing. No, it's not. It is considered a very bad thing. And also, I can't just say it on stream, just in case, so. But seriously, since that moment, I just really didn't like that character anymore, so, yeah. And I think as a result, I'm never probably putting that character in the party ever again, unless the story forces me to use that character. I mean, at least with the other, like, Hardpoint events, like, at least they weren't like that, so, like, the characters are okay still. Like, they didn't go that far. But for that one character, because I obviously didn't pick that character in the previous game, it's like, it's no. I think I'm gonna stop talking about it now. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm gonna be like, about it. Yeah, I'm just not gonna think about it anymore. I just want people to know that I don't like a character anymore in Trails, because of what they did in their event in the 4th game of Cold Steel. Like, especially when you consider the real life circumstance of, like, how it is, like, treated in real life. Like, you can't just do that. I wish I could just say it. I could probably say it on an art stream. Like, the specifics of what the character did. But, I think it's just easier to say, if you guys know from Cold Steel 4, you know. And by the way, I have to say that, like, the character I picked in the previous game is in 3, and what I pick in 1 and 2 is, who is technically the protagonist's canon love interest. And I don't care what people say. I like them. They're so cute. So basically, I don't know if the event is different if I didn't pursue that character in the 3rd game. Because in the 3rd game, their event was like, can we just forget about what happened at the festival kind of thing? Like, it was that was the event there was just between them. So, what I've been talking about is, like, in something that happened with a different character. Oh, wait, what am I doing? My throat. It's so bad. Anyways, I should probably consider playing Cold Steel 4 again because I still want to get like the moment between the two characters. Like, I know it happens later on because NIS America did like a whole like achievement voting, like oh, vote for which image you want as the achievement, and I kind of guessed, put two and two together to figure out what that's about. Oh yeah, speaking of the other hard point events, I didn't do all of them because I wanted to avoid getting more of them. I only did the ones that give me a profile page for characters. But one of the point events, I pretty much summarized. I didn't see it because of the obvious reason, and the obvious reason is who the character was, and I'm like, why is this an option in the game? Why is this character an option? Because there are even worse layers to consider with that one, even worse than what this other character did. And I'm like, nope, we are not doing this. And I made sure not to activate it ever, because of obvious reasons. So awkward. Basically, I'll just say it's the same as like the situation between two characters from Trails in the Sky. Why does the game? Why are things like this sometimes? Thank goodness there's an option to not even bother. Yay! But anyways, I really wonder when it's gonna happen. Like my choice is gonna like happen. Cause I really want to pick the 2 so much, and I want to see how much cuter it is. Because I picked his canon love interest. Basically, in the events of Cold Steel 4, things are really like difficult between them because of what's going on. Like, because you know, with the protagonist having like his own like power kind of going like everywhere, like is like unstable for the most part, and also like his canon love interest, like she's like going through a lot of things since like the revelation related to her family. And yeah, a lot's going on between the both of them in their own personal like circumstances that like when I did the event, basically they decided to stay as just friends, and because they're not ready to continue a relationship because of what's going on. And obviously I kind of had a feeling that was the case because like they have other things to worry about, that a relationship is the last thing on their minds. And I'm guessing that since obviously you could still get hard points with her, like I'm assuming that they'll reconcile and start their relationship back up again. And I really want to see it happen. It's like, please let me see it. Oh yeah, first off I had to play through the entire game just to see it happen. Yay. I took screenshots from like the third game. I missed a few of them because I forgot the screenshot button existed on the Switch, and I'm sad. What's amazing is that one of the screenshots I took is the exact like picture taken from like that they use for like flashback reasons if you pursued their relationship in the third game. Oh yeah, that's also why I played the third game. I wanted to get their I wanted to get their moments because I didn't really see those. Because the person I watched picked someone else, namely the character who did the very you should not do this in real life kind of action in the game. Yeah. I really started to not like the character after that point. But yeah, I really want to play again. I know some people are probably gonna be like, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, but in real life it's very, very bad, so don't tell me it's not bad at all. anyway, so as I was saying, so I played through Cult Steel 4, and so basically, I finally got to, so basically, it's the end of Act 2, where this one spoiler I knew, because, you know, I told you guys, I mentioned that I decided to spoil myself completely of, like, is this character okay, basically? Like, are my doubts right? And, yeah, I was right. I know, why does this thing have to spawn now? Oh, it's just one of these. Please. No, it's the bird hunting thing. I was hoping it was the arrow key ones. Oh, that's it. Okay. But anyway, so like Cold Steel 4, so basically where I stopped, like before I took like a long break from it, is little after the start of Act 3. I at least talked to everyone and am about to get to the next mission objective of the game. But yeah, that's where I stopped at when I played the game. But like before that, so basically, I think I could say a bit, but I won't say too much. But like, so basically after doing the third part of Act 2, which was save the last group of characters who were like basically stuck somewhere. So basically it progressed to like the final part of Act 2, and in that anyways, come on, skill, please. Sorry, give me a second. I need to make sure everything's ready. So basically, the final part of Act 2, and in there is basically, I won't go into too much detail, but I will say, like, in that part of the game, you have, like, the previous characters, like, the Sky and Crossbow characters, the rest of them that we first saw at the start of the game and later on in Act 1. Like, we get to finally see them again after the end of Act 1. And I got so emotional. Like, it was my favorite part of the game already, like, at that moment. Because I was like, oh my gosh, they get to all meet. All three protagonists meet. Yeah, and also a few more cameos, and it made me so happy. Like, I was like, just like, all like happy and like flustered and stuff. And my favorite part about that part of the game is that they really emphasize how the protagonists from each of the three sagas are basically the leaders of their own groups. And it made me so happy. And then danger happened. And I won't spoil anything after that, but it was like a really huge cutscene at the end of Act 2. It took a while to load some of the cutscenes because it was so laggy. Not a bad thing, but the lag was there. Also, I'm gonna switch maps once I reach the 50% burning field, I think. But anyway, so as I was saying, anyways, as I was saying, so what was it? Oh yeah, so yeah, the end of Act 2, there was like a lot of cutscenes before the end of Act 2 like screen popped up. And it was like, okay, it had the game entirely docked, but it was still somewhat slow because there were so many. So basically, from what I know a little bit with like game development is that like so many assets like character models like and like effects like can cause lag if there's so many in one place. So that was what was happening. There was so many characters like showing up as well as a lot of effects, and I'm like, okay, I know you all are having your evil monologue, but can you please hurry up? It's lagging the game. It wasn't too bad. Like, for the most part, the game runs really well on the Switch. It just had, like, scenes like that can cause, like, lag. Huge lag. But yeah, it is, so yeah, that did happen. And, my gosh, I just really love how the end of Act 2 ends. I'm just not over this reveal. I will just say, after 2 years, technically 2 years since, oh wait, no, it really is 2 years, because when I saw this cutscene, it was almost 2 years since I was first spoiled. Intentionally, by the way, of, like, this reveal. Like, that it was gonna happen. Like, since my doubts. But it took over 2 years for me to finally see it happen in the game. And I was so happy, because I was like, I've been waiting to see this for so long. And I'm happy, and I'm like, oh yeah, the detail. Oh yeah, that's another thing, by the way. I think around the time of the recent Trails anniversary, I don't know which point in time it was, but like around the anniversary time of the series, it's reached a point where it's actually like something they're just freely talking about now to some extent. But anyways, like just that cutscene, it made me so happy. I was just sinking in my chair, like I was smiling and stuff because I was like, I finally get to see it. I finally get to see the reveal. It's been 2 years since I first learned of this. Yeah, so I was so happy at the time. It like obviously. I think my reaction would be even bigger if I didn't know, but because I saw the end of Cold Steel 3, yeah. Like, I was going to be spoiled regardless. It still made me happy because it reminds me of this other series where something happens, and because it was in an anime, I had to wait until the new episode. But because I was watching the dub version, I decided to watch the sub version just to spoil myself of what happened to a character, because I didn't want to believe what happened was what happened. So it wasn't the first time I've done it, so it's fine. Oh, whoops. So yeah, but I was just all smiling and like stuff like that from like oh yeah, and also another thing, because I knew the spoiler already, like a lot of characters kept bringing up what happened at the end of the third game. And it's, to be fair, like me knowing is pretty much the same as probably anyone who finished the game the first time and is just re-exploring it. So I can imagine how people, like, what people must be thinking, like, while going through, Cold Steel 4, like, again after beating it. Because it's like, you're like, wow, they really make sure you don't think it wasn't, like, the case at all. I wish I could say this one thing, but it is a spoiler. I think it'll be okay to talk about after Reverie is in English. So, I'll refrain from saying a single thing. But it's like, I will say, there's this character, I mentioned there was a little detail that I knew was, like, it's different, I'll say. And that's, like, the best I could say without spoiling it. But, yeah, that's a little detail from the character in question. I will say that, I will say that, how do I put this again? I forgot. I would say that in terms of the little detail on this character after, like, the Force game, because I did see it in Reverie screenshots, they look good in the new detail. I'll say that. I'll say it. I'm not going to say what the detail is, but they look good in it. And honestly, it fits them. It fits the character really well. And also, I think as I was like exploring, going through Sky and Crossbell, and also having knowledge of Cold Steel, not counting Cold Steel 3 because of spoiler reasons, but I would say this character, while I was like playing Genshin like over time, and also like getting into like other stuff, I have basically learned why I like this character, and it's like, I think there's a certain trend of, okay. I want to go to the next map. No, I set up to 50%. It's not 50% yet. But, okay, so basically, I forgot to so technically spoil the character. I think if I keep it as vague as possible, I think some of you would not know. Basically, I feel like there's like a trend I've noticed with... Oh, look, arcane symbol. Like, there's a bit of a trend I have where, like, I tend to like characters that are tall men and, like, very pretty looking and have, like... can be like slackers, but also like very calculative or something. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's like, I guess like to put an example out there, not saying the character from Trails, I think some of you may know because of obvious reasons. I just said exactly like what that character is, but I'm not going to say it because I did talk about their involvement in the later games that are already in English officially. So, yeah, for example, Ayato from Genshin. Cause it's like, why I love Toma just as much. There's something about Ayato, Kamisato Ayato, that I like even more, and even was like before he was even like released and his voice actor was revealed. In fact, like when his voice actor is revealed, I like him even more because, okay, not really slacker characters, more like characters who have like that very like, who have that side of themselves that are like really cool and they're like awesome. But anyways, as I was trying to say, so like even before Ayatsu's voice was revealed, like from like a lot of things we have in the game already, like it made me like him even more. Knowing his, I got it backwards. No, like I already liked him from reading stuff, so when his reveal happened, I liked him even more. And that once again happened when we learned his voice actor is in English, his voice actor also voiced Dimitri in Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I'm guessing also Three Hopes. It seems like the same cast anyway. know for sure for like some of the other characters because at least like because of one of the voice actors is currently not working because of like cancer, like having to get treatment for it. Now we'll find out soon who it is or if the voice acting was done before that happened. Anyways, I don't want to go into detail about that right now. But anyways, but like, yeah, so Ayato's voice actor in English is the same person who voiced Dimitri, and that made me love Ayato even more than I already have. And yeah. I'm still not over like when the live stream happened, the premiere for like 2.6. And I was like, who is the voice actor for Ayato? And then, because like he was also like one of the guests on the program, so it's like whoever it is, like they're gonna be talking. So it's like, I just remember it's like when the introduction happened, oh my god. I would have screamed in my house if I could. I couldn't because it was so early in the morning. It was 8 a.m. in the morning and people didn't want loud noises in the house. So I had to be quiet, but I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh! Fun fact, I didn't really predict that his voice actor was gonna be anyone because it's been a while since, like, at the, when we first heard Ayato, which was in, Ito's character teaser, I didn't really predict anyone. Well, one, I wouldn't want to, like, you know, predicting, it's okay to predict, but if you say it online, it would get voice actors in trouble. Especially if it's a public, like, discussion of prediction. And two, the other reason is that, I didn't remember, like, it's been, like, when Ito's character teaser came out, it's been ages since I've heard, like, some of Chris Hackney's roles. So I couldn't even guess him at all from hearing that small line of for Ayato. So yeah. Whenever I keep thinking about this one voice actor, I'm just like praying every day, hoping he'll get out of like he beats cancer. Cause I don't know how long it's been now since that was revealed, but I think like at least like 2 weeks ago now. Cause the voice actor in question has voiced characters in this game here, which is Maplestory, obviously. And God. And like hearing his roles, like again, like it's nice to hear his voice work, but it's also reminding me of like what's going on right now, which is really sad. And I'm hoping he recovers. I don't want to think about it too much. It's gonna make me cry on stream, and I hate crying on stream. Unless, I don't know, it depends. I just don't want to cry like randomly on stream. I don't know how many roles like he voiced in this game. I didn't really count, but he voiced quite a few. I know. Oh, please respawn. Please spawn. No. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, this is the 70% zone. Are you serious? Someone was here. That's fine. A little bit of increase is okay. Yeah, this map is more spacious, but that's okay. Oh yeah, speaking of like Maplestory voice people who voice in Maplestory, how do I put this? So basically, you know, during the Glory update, the Cernium storyline. Oh, my throat. There's at least like, okay, there's 2 characters who speak in the Cernium storyline. I don't know if they appear in Tenebris. Okay, obviously one of them. Basically, it's Aaron and Elwyn, the characters. Aaron being Darmor in truth, but that's not the point. Oh yeah, and speaking of Aaron / Darmor, his voice is different in the adversary cutscene video thing by official channel thing. Basically, they have okay. What I find interesting is that their voice actors in English are not confirmed, but from my experience with hearing a certain voice actor, I could tell it's the same person voicing them both, because I'm familiar with said voice actors' roles. For some unknown reason, I don't know why the voice actor in question did not confirm that they voiced the characters, even though it's clearly the same person and it's from them. Which I find strange because, oh yeah, and it's also not the first time that this voice actor voiced a Maplestory, because I realized that he also voiced Zero Alpha. Because it's the same voice sounding. I'm not gonna say names because just in case, because you know that's probably like still like NDA things. But I just find it strange how like other characters are confirmed, like their voice actors, like either by the voice actors themselves or by the GMS community manager. But why not like Aaron, Elwyn, and like? But why not those 2 specifically at least? Like everyone else in the Cernium storyline was like confirmed except for those 2. Like I'm so confused. It's like, is there a particular reason why they didn't want to confirm themselves, or what? Or did no one ask and the GMS community manager didn't say anything because no one asked? I just find it weird because when I checked all the characters who appeared in Cernium story... Wait, no, I don't think I checked everyone. I think I'm... Okay, I can't really check right now, because I will lose my combo. I'll check later. I don't know if Adea has her voice confirmed at all. Like, I could tell who it is because of the same range sort of situation, and it's like there's no doubt about it. But I do have to check if she did confirm her, because like I could tell that Adea and Lucid have the same voice, but I don't know if like one was confirmed while the other wasn't. I just find it unusual. It's like, how are they not confirmed yet? Even though, like, some of the other characters are. I find that weird, like, the most. There's too many layers with it. I don't know. I just find it really strange, even though, like, the other characters were confirmed, while this, like, a couple of them are not. It's It's like ever since like Tenebrous, like voice actors for characters have been getting more confirmed lately. But like earlier cases are not unless it's specified by the voice actor themselves or otherwise. Hello. I have mostly just been talking about the voice acting in this game. And like, why some voice actors are not confirmed, even though, like, others were. But anyways, I just finished talking about that, and I don't want to go back to the topic again. And also my throat kind of hurts, because I've been talking for like an hour and 40 minutes now. Let's think about something else. Oh yeah, I'm also like EXP grinding, and I've got about like 6% today now, because I started to stream with 38% at the bottom. Honestly, I will say this is quite a lot to get after like 2 hours. Well, not 2 hours, but almost like 2 hours. Even though the start of the stream actually was me doing my dailies because I forgot to do them last night. Because I was leveling my last Explorer character to level 100. And I actually haven't finished doing that. Oh yeah, I just reminded myself after I just said that. So like from like reading like the KMS, what's your Legion level? I think level 4. I think. I don't know. I have like 28 characters that I could put on the grid. If that helps like figure out what level I am. But anyways, I was like leveling an Explorer character last night, so I didn't do my dailies on my main. So I had to do my dailies at the start of the stream. Well, most of them. I might be like... what's it called? Oh yeah, I might do like some boss, quick like daily boss runs just to get more guild EXP. Anything else? Yeah. I just didn't do them last night, or... Well, technically I would have done them earlier, but I wanted to do my Genshin dailies. As I usually do. And also the game went on maintenance for 3 hours, so I couldn't even go on Maplestory after I did that. I got my nose stitches. Nope. Trying to get to a point where the enemies are still going to perish, but I'm not gonna lose my combo. Oh, I have another infernal den. Okay, I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, gonna get this thing real quick. Okay, gonna do this real quick. Anyways, as I was saying a bit ago, so like something I looked into like with the next update, because KMS already got it, is that one thing that's happening next update is that the Explorers are getting revamped, and that includes like revising their storyline. And I've been leveling all my Explorer characters on this server. So, like, I think, like, all the quests are gonna disappear anyway. Like, to replace with a new one. But just in case, I kind of wanted to, get all my Explorer characters to 100. Just to do the old one before the update changes it. And at the moment, I still have one character left to do to get to 100. I was gonna do that last night, but then it would turn to 10 p.m. and I was like, no, I don't want to play anymore past this time. I'm tired. Yeah, I played like yesterday. I only had like from like going through all my characters, I only had 3 of them to get to 100 and do the old storyline. So I got 2 of them, but I still have like 1 more, and I was like, so tired, and I didn't. Waiting for revamp. Yeah. I didn't really look too much into the revamp because when it's like comes to the skills, I'm like, I'll just figure it out when it comes out. That's usually what happens. Like, oh, like in this update, class revamp or new class comes out, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna read all the skills. I'm just gonna guess how it all works when it's released. Basically, I looked more into it because I was like curious about like how much has changed for the story itself, because the Maplestory wiki, whichever people edit that, like actually wrote the new version of their like storyline in there, and I'm like, this seems really different. Okay, technically from what I read, it's the same, but they played out events like in different order. Or like, how do I put this? Like, for like the first quest at level 25, it's different depending on which class you have, for example. But they changed it where all the information from those differences are like revealed in the same story, regardless of which character you pick. Class, I mean. And I'm excited to see that. And also, it gave me the idea to create a brand new character. Just to do the storyline on. And from what I read, I think the entire storyline lasts up to 200 like other classes. So, if I were to do that, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it though. Like, would an existing Explorer character still be able to do it? Well, even if they do, like, I won't be able to do the tutorial stuff, so I had to create a new character. And of course, that comes to the problem, like, okay, I can't really create the character on Scania because I have every single Explorer character on there already. So I'm probably gonna create one on Reboot, just to, like, experience the story. Like I did with the Zero, for, like, that one video I made. Oh yeah, even though I don't really play on Reboot, I have created a couple characters on there, but none of them ever reached the level 200. Or like a very high level, because I mostly play on this one. Scania. Also, the whole thing about like playing on a different service that I put so much effort into this one that I'm like, I can't just switch over. Also, I created one of every single class on Scania. Ow, my headset. Ow. I'm trying to get the things. I'm gonna fix my headset. Ow. I don't know why I put, like, my gaming headset on, even though there's no, like, cutscenes playing or anything. I just usually do that for, like, streams. That are, like, art streams. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, right, this. Oh, yeah. I think this thing will expire when the time on my stream changes to, like, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Because I paid attention to when I opened it before I started this. level up so much. Well, at least I'm gaining a lot of EXP. I still remember how every single time I try to go through with like a plan of grinding like for EXP in this game, I never do it. Even though I could be like, I could get at least this much EXP per day, but then whenever I think about the days after, I'm like, oh no, I will never do it, and then it never happens. At that point, it's just me being lazy, but it's also like, it's so exhausting. To be fair, even if I do have EXP potions, how much are you getting per totem? EXP wise or what? Because I actually don't know. EXP. I actually don't know. But it's definitely more than what I usually get. For the most part, I don't really know. I don't really keep track of it. I just only keep track on, of my EXP increase if it's, if I'm already at the next percent, whole number. It's definitely a bit faster. I'm noticing that the third decimal is, going by really quickly. For the most part, I don't know. I'm trying to remember because I did, I have been in this map, before without a totem. With, Burning Field maxed, so... Also, I do know that, I don't know if it's, an actual thing, but I do know that, if the monsters are roughly the same level as your character, you tend to level up, or not really level up immediately, but you tend to get EXP a lot faster than monster enemies that are 5 levels, for example, above. And it's been very helpful since. Oops. Because I remember, when after I unlocked Arcana, I was, kind of, fighting a lot of the enemies that, are, quite a bit higher level than my character. But I did it, but it's, okay, I still get a lot of XP, but it's, technically not as much. But when I actually fought enemies that are actually the same level as my character, the EXP is actually slightly greater. Probably because it's easier to fight all the enemies at my level, but... I basically noticed a difference. So... And to make sure I fight enemies that are of the same level, or roughly the same level as my character. Part of me just wishes I didn't miss, some events in this game. I could have gotten free, level up potions. I don't know, I just feel like I want to get to 250 already so I could just focus on, just grinding at that point. Because there's no EXP potion level up thing past 250 as far as I know. And it's the old-fashioned way from there. But of course, even with that, it'll still be a while to do the final part of Tenebrous, because that's level 255, and yeah. Oh yeah, that's also the plan for next time, is that I'm gonna be doing the Moonbridge story next stream. Yeah, so Tenebrous Part 1 next time. Also, I don't know if I'm gonna stream tomorrow, as well. Yet. Because I haven't edited the last stream VOD yet, Okay, I'll take note of that. First, I'll have to do the story first. And obviously the sound effects will be on. Oh yeah, speaking of the sound effects, I wish the enemy noises had a separate option to like mess around with in the options menu. Because I like to have the sound effects on sometimes, but it's so annoying when the monsters sound so loud. Because the thing is, like, the voice acting is also tied with sound effects. And I'm like, why is this not a separate option in the volume mixer? Oh gosh, my legs. Camus just implemented that. Oh my god. The fact that it's just implemented is like, oh gosh. Because it's like, why did it take this long to even consider that as an option? But like, I noticed it a lot, like, when I was doing like the storylines, especially like Kane and like Lara's stories. Because like, when they level up, it's so loud when I want to have the voice acting on. So when I uploaded those, okay, I don't know if I did it with Lara, but I definitely know when I was editing my VODs, when I did Kane's storyline, I had to edit out the level up sound because it was so loud in the mixer. I was like, oh gosh. It took a while to edit it. Although it was kind of easy to tell where I had to cut out that part of the video, because you could see like the levels like go crazy around that part of the editing software. But yeah, it's like, why the enemy? Also, yeah, the enemy noises, because like because the enemy noises were so loud, I had to cut it out. Like, not cut out. I had to mute the sound effects to fight the enemies, and then after that, I had to unmute the game. So, yeah. Basically, it's so troublesome when editing the video. But at least it's easier to see the things. Okay, I'll loot that nodestone in a bit. I need to make sure my combo's still up. I wonder if I'll be able to get to 9999 combo. I never actually got it once yet. I should probably keep doing it. But it's good. But my totem's probably gonna expire before then because it has like 20-ish minutes, 30-ish minutes left. Because these totems are like 2 hours long. Yeah, it'll happen another day, probably. I never got like the max combo like from fighting enemies before. Because every single time I try to, I get lazy near the end because the burning field ran out. And I'm like, what's the point? Oh yeah, now that I reminded myself, I just reminded myself. So like, after my last stream, I did continue like trying to get more entries in the monster collection. And something about that is that I was trying to get one of the entries, which is literally called Ghost. And I didn't get it, and I spent about 30 minutes in the map where the ghost named enemy Ghost spawned. And I didn't get it, and I gave up because I was like, okay, I'm tired. I've been here for like 30 minutes, and I have something else to do with my time. So, yeah, that happened. And while I was trying to get the ghost, I managed to accumulate 2,000 combo. And I was like, okay, this is when I probably should stop for today. And I still don't have ghost in the monster collection yet. Because I got so tired of fighting the enemies. Then I was like, ah. Anyways, I'm really hoping for like more options in the sound tab of the game. Like, please, global, please add it already. Well, at least just knowing that it's gonna happen eventually is just really nice. Also, I remember, I think when, like, I had, like, sound effects on a lot, like, I think it took a while for me to realize that the voice acting was tied to the sound effects. And thankfully, it was, like, before I even, like, recorded the story more often from this game. I think I first noticed it when the Grand Athenaeum theme dungeon added episode 4 and 5. Like, that was when I realized the sound effects was, like, tied with the voice acting. And when I raised the sound effects, I was like, ah, so that's it. And then sometime after that, I realized how annoying it was because, like, the monsters would be so loud, and then the voice acting is like, okay, level. I don't know why the monsters had to be so loud. Why? Also, I can't wait for the next storyline to be in the game, which is going to be the next update because, yeah. Hopefully there's someone who's going to upload the story from the global version because I do want to see it, and I don't know what level the area is going to be. I know it's after Hotel Arcus, so it's like 275 or 280 or whatever it's going to be. Is regular... Okay, I actually don't know, but is regular Cernium level 260 and burning Cernium like 265? I can't check, and I actually don't know. It probably is, I think, last I checked. Somewhat. I don't know. I just know it's like overall level 260 required. And Hotel Arcus is 270. So, based on pattern, I think the next area, which is called Carote? I don't know what it was in the thing. It's probably different spelling, will be different spelling in global, but I don't know. But that's like the name of it in KMS. And I'm guessing it's like 280. Oh yeah, that's his thing. I did check like the blog post from like Orange Mushroom. But I didn't pay attention to the level. I just saw like, it was also like the update that will have like the other stuff included. But like, that's it. Also, I know in the next storyline, the antagonist T-Boy appears. And also, earlier at the start of the stream, I remember, like, before the stream started, I remembered I forgot to, like, show, like, a picture of him, like, the character, last stream? Oh, no. Okay. And I made sure I showed, like, the NPC artwork of the character at the start of my stream today. Because one thing... So basically, in the next storyline, the antagonist from River City, T-Boy, whose real name is Nikki Angler? I think that's what it's on the wiki. Appears again, but without his helmet for most of it. And... It's so random, but when I saw him, I immediately was like, why is he so adorable for a villain? And also from reading the next storyline, like the summary of it on the wiki. And again, I really love the wiki adding like the detailed summaries so much. when I was reading the summary of the story. Like, when I was reading the summary, I can't help but notice that I think in the next storyline, he kind of has, like, similar, like... I wouldn't say too similar, but kind of made me think of Orchid. Like, and how she had a bit of a heel face turn in the story. It's, like, not quite on the same level as Orchid, but he kind of makes me think of her, like, a little bit. Like, in the next storyline. And also from reading like, after, like, doing the Reverse City story and also reading the next storyline, I think, like, T-Boy just doesn't have, like, a very good, relationship with his sister and father. Which makes me, like, feels bad for him. Like, he may be antagonist, but I do feel bad for him because, like, his own family doesn't like him. And also, I did, spoil, Cosmin's role from reading the thing as well. Oh my god, please. There we go. Oh yeah, Cosmin actually, like, for the first time appears in, like, face reveal. The character was in Hotel Arcus story. My throat. I have water with me so my throat will not completely dry out. Oh, my health potions are running out. Well, the guild potions, as it is seen on my, key menu at the bottom. Oh yeah, I set up my, my setup for the key slots really, interestingly. I get the bottom. I don't know if that's even a word. But basically, I set it up in a very specific way. Also, like, something whenever I keep thinking about how I set up my keys in Maplestory, I just remind myself of, like, being in, like, high school when I, like, took a French class. Well, I took 3 of them. But, like, the first one I took, obviously French one. I remember, like, my teacher, the teacher in the class, like, introduced us a minigame where we type in, like, to practice our verbs or something. I forgot what they were. But basically, it's like words that mean, like, to make or to dance or something, like those kind of words. And basically, we were learning how to, like, we were learning the different forms depending on the first word in the sentence, like, or just, like, referring to people, like, I, you, and, like, he, she, they, whatever. And basically, because I played so, like, a lot of games and know, like, where the keys are for the most part on the keyboard, I kind of, like, over-excelled at the minigame and was, like, the only one in my class who managed to, complete, like, 101 terms correctly in the minigame. And that was not even necessary. It was like a 5-minute practice, like, little, like, thing. Like, it wasn't even necessary to do it for that many times, but I did, because it was, like, it was very easy for me. Although now I don't remember too much of my French, but I remember doing getting 101, like, answers correct, and just in general doing 101 of them. So what the teacher, like, saw my computer, because she was, like, checking all of us, like, okay, let's see how well you did. And it in front of the entire class. I'm like, oh dear. It wasn't like too bad, but everyone was just like, how did you do this so quickly? It's like, well, when you play a lot of games. Okay, I never really answered the question to anyone. I just said I just practice a lot with like typing. And truth, it partially does have to do with Maplestory because I played a lot of it, like, ever since 2009. And because, like, you know, the hotkeys and stuff at the bottom, like, like, setting keys up at the bottom, like, made me remember, like, what key it was, like, a lot more. So, yeah. Gosh. It's still hard to believe I played Maplestory since 2009. Been so long. Mainly, like, when I first played it, like, it was like, technically, okay, I did share a tweet related to my, like, account anniversary or something. I don't know, like, was it, like, an end of the year thing that Maplestory did? I forgot what it was exactly, but I shared, like, when I started playing. But in actuality, I actually started playing, like, in July of 2009. Not, like, September or something, what it said. And the reason is because I actually first played on my brother's account. He let me play the game. And it kind of went from there. And I remember it well because it was, like, very close to when Cygnus Nights were, released in Global. And, yeah, that's how I remember it so well. It's because it was around that time. And then, obviously, I then have my own account, and that's how it all started for me. Like, later that year. Like, I played it out of my brother's account, but then I didn't play much after that. And then... and it just went from there. And also, I don't know when, but I think before Dual Blades were released in Global, that's when I even learned about the other servers in Maplestory. Because I remember, like, before Dual Blades was released, I was like, I typed that into Google or something, and it gave me, like, stuff related to KMS. But of course, since I was still, like, very much a kid back then, I didn't know what that was. And I was like, why is it not in English? Because obviously I can't read Korean. And it wasn't until the Big Bang update in KMS that I realized, like, there were other servers, like, completely. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I made a realization at that time. I realized things. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. And also at the same time, I learned that KMS has its updates, obviously, like half a year early than Global. Of course, I think at the time I didn't really know when updates happen exactly for like anything until a certain point. Like, I think I originally thought it was like, yeah, I was correct about, like, updates, but I didn't know, like, the specifics. Like, I didn't know there were, like, fall and spring updates at all. I thought there was still, like, summer or something. But when I realized that, I was like, oh, so, like, every, like, update from each other is, like, well, I don't know how to put it into words, but, like, for example, when the Legends update happened, like, it happened in the summer for KMS. But I thought it was gonna happen in the spring for Global. Of course, that obviously was not the case. I just didn't know how it worked. And when it was happening for the winter, I was like, oh, okay, like that was when I realized how the updates actually work. Like when they actually happen. Like I start to realize it. And now here we are. Also, I still remember when KMS revealed Phantom, and because like his name started with a P, and when comparing the previous like hero legend characters, like everyone started being like, "It's starting to spell Maple, guys," and I remember that so clearly. And a lot of us were trying to predict who would be the L, in Maple. Good times. I even like made a random prediction like myself, but it's because I misinterpreted the screenshot because Orchid was talking about her brother, and I thought that was it for some reason. Of course, I didn't really know too much at the time because, like, obviously I was still young, and like I didn't get to see a lot of the story quest at the time, like the lore stuff too much. I think the specific story that they took that screenshot from was like from the Demon Slayer storyline or Demon in general. I don't know which one. I think it was just like the first version of the Demon class. The first one that came out. Either way, I didn't know too much. No. Okay, that's my last EXP coupon for the week. Because I got it from this. Yeah, refills every Monday. Okay, my foot. Need to fix my legs. Ow. When you sit here on your feet for too long and it just paralyzes up. Anyways, like, I still remember when like a lot of people were guessing who the L could be in Maple, like with the legend classes. I love how it ended up being like that. It made me so happy thinking about it. And then Luminous was revealed, and we're all like, "It spells Maple," and stuff like that. And of course, then Shade existed, and of course his name was Unwal in the KMS version. And of course, a lot of us were like, "Oh, could the Maple acronym be for him?" But no, technically in English, the acronym is Maples. But of course, it's a weird case because like you then have the chairs, which for some reason I decided to buy them all during one event. I feel like no one should ask why. I will say it was kind of a waste of 600 million mesas because I wanted the chairs. But of course the chairs spell Maple as well, and Shade is just the heart of Maple. Oh, I just realized how cute that is. But yeah. I still remember those days. And also, what's interesting is that for the Explorer storyline. Okay, so basically you have the NPC characters, what are their names? Sugar, Tess, Olive? Olivia? I forgot her name, but it's like starts with an O and oh my god, I can't remember the last guy's name, but it starts with an R. And I remember when someone pointed that out, and basically they were spelling story. And it's like, well, where's the Y from? And it's basically us, because the Y stands for you. And I remember when someone pointed out, so like the Maple Legends spell out Maple, and then the Explorer storyline basically spells out story, and obviously that makes Maple story. I love that. Fun with acronyms. I love it. It's so simple but so sweet. And also, I will I'm definitely gonna be playing a new Explorer character for when the revamp happens, so I can go through the storyline. I don't know how it's gonna be for existing Explorer classes. I didn't really read up on anything about that. If like the character still experiences the story, just like not started the same way, then I could possibly like create the new character for the tutorial and then most of the story. And if, I don't know, I read somewhere that there's something for level 200. So if that's the case, then I will like do the whole story. Like up to like level 100. Okay, I have to double check on it because I'm probably just saying this like based on what I think or still know, like from barely reading it. I didn't want to read too much into it because I want to wait till the revamp. Although this is coming from the same person who just read the next storyline after Hotel Arcus and knows about T-Boy's role in it. Okay, I didn't really read too much into it because dark mode kind of messes with my eyesight a lot. But I did read enough to know a bit about T-Boy's role, as was Cosmin's. But that's it, I think. Yeah, that's mostly it. Oh no, my mouse cursor was over the thing. Oh, it's fine. I want to keep my mouse cursor away from the bottom of the screen, because, yeah. Like, it's probably not a big deal, but still, I'd like to be careful. The EXP is getting a little bit less because the burning field is at 40%. And I can't just change channels because the thing. Oh, here's this one. Yeah. And it just ends. I got a lot of XP from this one. Probably because it's like, oh, you got so far up. Here's an accomplishment. Okay, I need it. Okay, there we go. I can't wait to do the Moonbridge storyline. I'll still only be like part 1 of Tenebris, but it's better. But it's better than nothing. That'll be the first time I'm going through it because I actually never went through the Tenebris storyline myself. When it was an event version. Oh, my totem's about to expire. That's fine though. I think I'll stay on the map a bit longer after that just to get the last of the combo. It depends though, because I'm probably not gonna have enough like respawn rate. When does it expire? On the 58. Okay, I have 8 minutes with it. I had to look at that! I am now at 48%! Exactly 10. Well, not exactly, but like roughly 10% later from the start of the stream. Let's see if I can get to 50. Or close to 50. I haven't looked at all the mesas. Again, as I mentioned before, because I play like other games like Genshin, Impact, and like Trails, like I keep getting the currencies in-game mixed up with each other. Like while I was like playing Trails, like Trails of Cold Steel, like in this case, Cold Steel 3 and Cold Steel 4. The currency in-universe is called Mira, but at least 5 times while playing the games, I called it Mora, and it's not correct. And I think I may have called Mesos and Maplestory Mora instead, at least 3 times now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I like this? It's not a big deal, but the fact that I keep calling it something else is like bothers me. I think at this point, I think I'm not gonna let the stream in until I get the combo at 99999. Well, unless it resets on itself, then I will have to end the stream. I just want to see if I can get there. Close. I think at this rate, I might spawn in a lead boss because I've been out here for a while. I mean, the game doesn't say I'm getting close to it, but it probably will be in a bit. Oh, I love seeing all the mesas being looted by my pet, like, follower. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like, the pet I have is actually a permanent version. And the reason it is because I did an event a few years ago where, like, it was like one of the first where it was like, I forgot what it was, but it's like the event that gives you like free like cash shop, like, items, like, to use and wear. Like, permanent ones. I don't remember exactly what it was called. But it was like the first version of the event. And like part of it was like getting a free permanent pet. I think it happened twice, or was it, I don't know if the bunny I have here is from an earlier event. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But I got it like ages ago, a long time ago. As one can tell, I named it Snow. Interestingly enough, the spelling of Snow is actually on purpose because I remember this game from years ago that I've watched. It wasn't a great game at all. Like, there was a lot of weird things going on in it, and it basically was like an RPG Maker game. And one of the 2 people I watched play the game, like, their playthrough was discontinued because there were a lot of, like, technical problems with the game, and when they told the creator about the issues, the creator ignored them. But I didn't know about this story until, like, years later, so, yeah. There was, like, a lot of issues they had with the game. And after I saw the whole game myself, I actually really didn't like it as much. It was weird. Like, there were so many things with it that, like, didn't make sense. And I know that, like, they did make, like, a novel, like, sequel, which has, like, the bad and good ending connected. I didn't read it, but it was, like, I don't even know where it went. It It went somewhere. Like the story, I meant. I don't get it at all. It's like, I don't get it. Like, there's so many things with it that I don't understand. Even if they explain it, like, yeah. I don't like the story much, but I like the name of the character, and... because it's... Well, it's not really creative, since it's just referencing, like, the area, the... there's a lot of things with the thing that I just didn't get. I'll just keep it that way. Hopefully there's enough enemies respawn. I only have one totem because I only had enough to get one. And considering the last 2 hours, I had no reason to get another one because I'm not gonna stream for 4 hours. I might just to get this thing done, but other than that, no. I'm gonna try to get the 9999 combo today. At least once. At least one time. All my EXP coupons are gonna expire too, so I'm not gonna get much EXP doing this, the rest of this. That is okay though. Oh wait, don't I have a... Oh, it's gonna lag if I do it. No, I should have done it before I did all this. I do have a V skill, but it's like it's gonna lag the menu if I open it right now. Curses, why did I do this? I'll make sure to do it next time though. I think the plan for the next 2 streams, cause like with Genshin back on track, I'm gonna be like, whatever's gonna happen, like in the next update, I'm gonna be streaming it like at least like once or twice, I don't know, but I just want my phone and computer having different... Oh, there we go, it's gone now, the totem, as you can tell by the bottom left. It has expired. I want to keep going like a bit longer to see if I could get past the point. Like the enemy spawn rate will be lower, but I want to see if I could still try this. And also now I'm exactly like 10% later. I did get at least like close to like 1% from doing my dailies, so let's see if I keep doing this, I could get closer to 50%. I don't know when it was, but I remember like getting like you know, sometimes so like when a maintenance happens and there's like compensation appears as a little gift box or something. I don't know when exactly, I know it was earlier this year, but at some point I logged in, saw the chest, the present box in the corner, and I was given so many all cure potions. And I find that random because I was given like 9,000 of them or something. I'm not kidding, it was like 9,000. Actually 9,000. And I didn't know what to do with it. Okay, it was probably like 12,000, but it was still a lot. And I really had no idea what to do with all of it. And it was the weirdest thing to happen. Because I was like, what? Why did the game give me this many? It was a weird thing. just see if I could keep going, so I'll stream a bit longer. I know. Yeah, the spawn rate's gonna be low. I try to do this. Okay, we're not doing that. No. I'm not gonna use my basic attack. Oh gosh, no, 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 no! Ah, I was pressed up. Not that. Okay, nothing. Oh yeah, I have 7,000 achievement points. It's interesting to see the achievements are a thing, but it's like just there for like, just existing. It's like there's no point in it. Also, I'm not over the fact that like the achievements thing has like the achievements for fighting the Black Mage. It's like they're interesting to look at it, but it's like also some of them is like, yeah, just casually level a character to 255, do the entire Arcane River, and fight this thing, fight this guy, this boss, just to get the achievement. I'm like, no, thank you, no. No, never gonna happen. No, 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 no. Never gonna happen. And also, from like seeing like from reading about like the boss data and like the requirement to get into it, like without like the chance of easy death, is that you have to have all your arcane symbols maxed out so you don't get like more damage than anything, because it's like you need the exact amount of arcane force, arcane power, that it's like from the, yeah. And that's also why I'm making sure I level up my arcane symbols. Where's my mouse? Yeah, I have level 18 and level 14. And it's like that. Technically, the Espera symbol would have been like at least like 15 or 16, like in level. But I will say now that I have been lazy a lot. So when I did dailies in the past, I never really like like when I did dailies before, like after I unlocked Espera, I didn't do it as well because like I think like there were times where I only did like parts of my dailies, like 3 areas, and I was just so lazy. Which wasn't good. I was lazy. Very lazy. I like how, like, it's seeing in the bottom right corner, like, it's like EXP gained from this effect, and it's like the list is so long, it's actually cut off. Like, you can see it, like, at the bottom there. Like, the text is kind of cut off if you, like, have a very keen eye. Yeah, let me just... Wait, what did... I just saw a YouTube notification. I think someone I'm subscribed to on YouTube is playing a game called Later Alligator or something, whatever it's called. Did I just see that right? I can't check right now. But it's like somewhere around that. And a bounty portal. Oh, another one of these. Oh god, my nose itches. No, I don't want to sneeze. There's a very low chance that if you keep pressing the up arrow, you can actually beat it. I did that at one point and it actually worked, and I am not kidding. It really did. Yeah, also I keep thinking about wanting to do a stream tomorrow as well. Like, probably just like an art stream to take a break from Maplestory. But like, I have to edit the VODs, so I'm gonna skip tomorrow for streaming. So the next stream will just be the Tenebris Part 1 instead. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going until they get the max amount of the combo, or try to get the max amount of the combo. I say try because there's a chance that it's not gonna be there anymore. Also getting hungry. I plan to eat after the stream anyway, so it's fine. No! Oh my gosh, no, mount. In the meantime, I'm gonna talk about something else. Probably. I don't know if I should repeat what I said about, like, anime last time. I don't know. I guess, like, well, since I got into it, like, recently, I could keep talking about it, but I don't know. Usually when I want to talk about the anime, I don't want to talk about the manga. Because I want to respect, like, manga. I mean, people who don't read the manga. So the anime-only watchers. Of course, it depends on the series, because, for example, Promised Neverland has the worst season 2 that I prefer the manga, like, over whatever they did with season 2. Oh, yeah, I could go on a rant about that, but I don't know if I want to. It depends. I would just say, season 2 of Promised Neverland, I don't get what the director of the anime was thinking. Basically, how we see it, it was the 144 chapters of the manga after where they stopped season 1, taken and compressed into 11 episodes in season 2. With most of it cut out and basically taking away all the context that makes the scenes have more sense. Because as people put it, there's like a lot of scenes that were from the manga kept in the anime season 2. But you wouldn't get it unless you read the manga, because they took out the rest of the information. Like, some events, they don't make sense at all without, like, the previous scenes that were removed in the adaptation. And I will say, I did get into it from watching season 1 of the anime, and I read the manga afterwards, after that. Like, why did they do that? Like, I don't get it. Oh, look, I'm gonna get an elite boss soon. Like, why did they do it? I don't know. I'm not the one who made it. The season 2. So, I wouldn't know. I don't get it. I have heard that they said, oh, we're gonna make some changes, but we weren't thinking they're going to remove, like, a whole arc from the story and compress the remainder of the story into 11 episodes. No, that wasn't what we were thinking. We were thinking they were gonna add some additional scenes, like, to, like, make it more filled in. Not, like, remove what was basically a crucial arc in the entire series for the rest of the story to make sense. Like, it just, so much of it was changes. Like, why did he do this? And as people summarize the final episode, it's like PowerPoint presentation. And I'm like, yeah, that pretty much seems right. Oh yeah, I should probably mention, I didn't see season 2. I was going to wait until all the episodes were available because that's how I usually do things. If I read a manga first, sometimes. It depends. And, like, it was originally supposed to be like that. But then I saw, and I was okay with seeing stuff from the episodes because I read the manga. I was like, okay, I'm good to go. But then things started to change like it shouldn't, and, yeah, you have the result. Anyway, I'm not afraid to talk about spoilers, so I promise Neverland, but I'll just say that the manga's better. I know people have their, you know, their own personal feelings of the ending in the manga. But if we had to choose between the anime's ending and the manga's ending, a lot of us would say the manga, like 100%. And also, I know some people be like, oh, it's just the manga reader saw it because it didn't happen exactly as it should, technically. But I have seen a lot of anime-only watchers of Promised Neverland, and even they agree that the story wasn't that good in Season 2. Even they said the same thing. So it's like it's like with Tokyo Ghoul. It's just like with Tokyo Ghoul, the anime. Both the first part is the first series and its sequel. Like, I didn't read the manga of it. I have told myself I wanted to check it out, but after a certain scene, and knowing that's actually consistent with the manga, I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to see it. Yeah, I didn't. But even I, someone who was an anime-only watcher, knew, like, it was bad. Like, even I knew it was bad. I did look up, like, the original, like, manga, so, like, I know what happens for the most part. I just didn't read it in detail, like, the actual story. I, like, went on, like, Wiki and just kind of looked through the story that way. But yeah, that's my experience with some series out there. Also, I find it weird I saw some people not like the My Hero anime anymore, which I've... Oh no, no, oh my gosh, I almost messed up my combo. Oh no, oh my god, I was scared. But like, the what was it again? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like in My Hero, I find it weird that some people say that. I will say that I did notice something with season 5. That like when I read a manga, like the villain like segment of the season was actually before like a certain point. But I can understand why they changed the order of things because it'd be weird to put it in the middle of the season. So, like from what I know, like the villain arc actually happened like immediately after like what the first part of season 5 covered. But I can understand why they didn't do that because probably like they wanted to save it for like the like second half, like more like the end of it. Like probably because it would make sense in that order, considering. So it's like like nothing was removed. They just simply changed the order of how events are presented. So it's like the entire arc is like in a technical flashback sequence. Oh gosh, flag. So close, so close. Still getting EXP. Like, not as much because the burning field's running out, but yeah. So I definitely shouldn't grind on this map for a while because I will want it to refill the percent. You feel sunny in the dark energy still. I am aware. I have so many mesas. I have gained like probably like 20 mil from grinding today. God, I can't wait for tomorrow morning though. As of the time I'm streaming this, which is Thursday, the 19th of May. And I'm saying that now because this VOD is gonna be uploaded after tomorrow at some point. Because tomorrow, which is a Friday, is gonna be the 2.7 like stream premiere thingy for like Genshin. And one thing I'm curious about more than the actual update is who the voice actors are gonna be for new characters. Because I've been curious about who would voice like one of the characters the most, because I have like a guess, but I don't want to say it because, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. It is dangerous to make a prediction like publicly. So like voice actor NDAs aren't like destroyed at all. Because NDA is serious business and we don't want that ruined for anyone. It's like with one of the... It was like with the last new character in Genshin with Ayato, like a lot of people were like the character Ayato, Kamisato Ayato in Genshin, like he was first heard in Ito's character teaser. And because the English voice actor wasn't revealed yet, people were making predictions. Like, at the time, it wasn't revealed. And that was like 2-3 months before the voice actor was even confirmed. And the thing is, like, it's okay to make predictions, but saying it publicly puts a voice actor at risk. And that is dangerous. And, yeah, a lot of people were guessing who it was immediately. But it's like, don't, shush. Because, again, it's dangerous to do that. So, like, when it was finally revealed and allowed to be spoken, yeah, I'll just say that people got him trending on Twitter. That day. My throat. My throat. Again. I'm not getting much EXP because the level and the burning field's like gone. I don't want to get to the next map because I'm so close and stuff like that. At least I'm like, I have gained like 10% EXP. And even before like the thing expired, like I got about like, I actually did get like 10%. Well, now we got a bit over 10% now. I don't do the other daily things, which is the... Which is what? I forgot. Oh yeah, like the special content Arcane River, like here. I didn't do those for like Moras and Espera because I'm lazy. Mainly because I'm lazy, and I wish I didn't ignore this, but like one of them requires me to use the sit key, but I replace it with my chair, and I don't like to keep like getting rid of that, so. I guess the power of chair that I don't want to remove because of laziness. I do like the chair, like the globe chair. It is really sad how the event actually happened, because even I agree that it was like really messy of an event they did. Because like the event wasn't the greatest, but I do like the chair. Like the chair is nice, but how they like implemented the event was really bad. Like, I mean, like, there was even, like, a achievement, like, if you get specific ones, like, specific, like, decoration for the globe, like, unlocked. And the thing about that is that, well, like, some of them were from Gacha, and I'll show when I sit in my chair again at the end of the stream that I did get one of the Gacha items. I will say that I actually got really lucky with getting the Lucid character from the thing. I'm not kidding. I actually did get very lucky with it. I'm not kidding. I know it's kind of bad to say, because it's like, really? You got that lucky with this? Yeah, I really did. Because like people were selling the Lucid like globe little figurine for like a lot of mesos in the auction house in the game, that I didn't want to buy it, but if I was like, if I get lucky, I'll get it, because Lucid could only be obtained in the gacha. So I used like 2,000 Maple points for 2 tickets and got one. I think I still got the screenshot. It was, oh my god, now I remember. That was like December 2020. And I know that because on the same day I was playing Genshin and I pulled for D-Luke instead of Albedo on that day. And speaking of which, at the time, I still didn't spend money in Genshin. I do now, but not like crazy or anything. Just like a few, like, just a little bits here and there. Not too much. I think I saw a screenshot. I shared it to a friend of mine. I'll check before I end the stream. Oh yeah, and also, like, with the Explorer revamp coming in the next update, because, you know, KMS, like, updates are 6 months, like, ahead of global and stuff like that. I'm trying to decide which of the classes I'm gonna pick for the whole thing. I do have one level 200 Explorer character, but, like, already. But I want to pick one specifically based on sprite. Like, NPC portrait. It's a bit silly, but I purposely do want to get one based on, like, portrait. Like, creative. Because, like, I think, like, dialogue-wise, the character will appear in the portrait. That's, like, why. because like if I'm gonna do that level 200 quest, I have to figure out which one am I. And like the thing is like if it's the same, like if I could still do this new storyline as like an existing explorer character, like I have to pick which one of my characters I want to level to 200. And I had to choose. Some of them, I just realized only my warrior characters are actually above 170. Actually, no, 2 of them. Never mind. Only like my warrior characters are all above 140. I don't want to play one of the special classes because I want to pick a class that starts off in Maple Island by default. I'll think about it. I have to figure it out. I had to be very careful with my choice because I really wanted to pick a specific class. Because, like, I just find it weird how, like, the Special Explorer classes still have, like, the Maple Island storyline, and it just makes no sense for them at all. Like, why do we still have this even though we've never been to Maple Island, like, in their storylines at the start? So close, so close, so close. I'm concentrating right now. I'm so close. Come on, get to 99999. There we go. Close. Almost there. Yes, I did it. I have achieved 9999999. At least once. Oh my gosh, we did it. Actually, I did it. No one playing. Ah, finally. Okay, now we're done. We're done. Let's go loot all the mesos. Okay, maybe eliminate these guys real quick. Okay, I'm done now. I did it! Oh, it's so exhausting. My feet are just like, ouch, right now because I've been sitting on them. And we have to open up all our goodies. And also, I reached 50% in EXP today. EXP bar, not 50% overall. I wish, but no, that's not... Oh, whoops, here. Now let's go open all these. Okay, I'm gonna do all this on stream. Dump these because we don't need them. Can I still try my luck with this? What? One of these. Nothing happens still, even after the many times I've tried. Oh, I got one of these. I'll do something about it later. Okay, now let's see these character nodes. They're building. I don't really use those because they're time limited. Door, which I don't care about. to open this. It lags, and that's why I couldn't, like, open it in the map, because I didn't want to ruin the thing. Okay, give it a second. I don't want to double-click it, or else it crashes the game. Ah, we got it tired. I've been at this for 3 hours. Of course I'm tired. Okay, don't click anywhere. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I do have this building. I didn't know. I didn't pay attention. Yeah. Yeah, I had this, but I couldn't just put it on because, of course, as you could tell, it lagged. Oh, look at all the random things. Oh, I got an oh god, put that on. So, arcane symbol. So all this. No. Not a lot of things. Put that in there. I'm just doing some miscellaneous things, and then the stream will be done. Okay. Actually, let me put that in there too. For my other characters. Oops. There we go. Okay. And last but not least, mess with the thing. Oh yeah. Should probably do that too. Okay, so first off, to make sure that the thing I want is upgraded. Because I'm gonna dismantle all the ones I don't want. No. Okay. Oh, and also the door. I don't want that. There you go. And that'll be it for today. Let me go here. Because the music's nice and relaxing. Okay, I am exhausted. I can't speak. I have chairs. So many chairs. I don't want to put my globe chair on because... Oh, I could put the cake one instead. Where's the one? The other cake. Where is it? Here, the butter cake. The cute chair. Also, while I'm doing... Oh, wait. Oh, the music here, it's so nice. I have so many chairs. So many of them. Anyways, let me go... No, I opened my art program instead. Okay, it's gonna be awkwardly quiet. Okay, there we go. Discord. My friend debating on whether she should collect the entirety of Jujutsu Kaisen or not. Honestly, it really depends. Okay, let's see. Oh boy, this is gonna take a bit. Oops, I kinda went a little too far back. Oh, there's the Albedo picture I took. Wait, what? Maple, god Where is it? I know I said it. Did I not get it? No, I didn't. I didn't take a screenshot. No! I never took a screenshot. I apologize, guys. I really didn't. Well, that's sad. I thought I did. Well. Well, I guess I didn't. It's fine. I'm gonna check the V matrix. Oh, I have a slot open. And I have some available. I thought I had these. There you go. What would I want to get? Maybe this? I don't know. This will be unlocked at 250, so I could throw this on it as well. It costs HP. Yeah. Anyways, that'll be all for today's stream. Just one where I'm just doing some of my dailies and grinding for some EXP, and it's a lot of EXP. I actually got from 38-ish% to 50 today. Yay! We made progress. I just have like 50% more and plus 3 more levels, and I'm there at 250. Not a big deal. Actually, it is. It'll take forever. It'll take so long. Also, this cake looks so delicious. I want to eat it. I will say, when this event happened, I didn't want to have the same layer of cake all over because it didn't look right. I made sure the layers were different because that makes it more tasty looking. Also, I actually did decorate another cake on my other character, as well. If anyone would like to know that. Yeah. I'm also tired because I've been at this for 3 hours, so I apologize, Sam. I'm kind of sleepy right now. I'm tired. I tell you now. Okay. I said 3 hours, but okay. I've only been up since for 7 hours today. But yeah, the stream is long. I'm always tired though. I always sleep at 12:50 in the morning, and I wake up at 8. So yeah. Blame the sleep schedule in college, university. For my messy schedule. Anyways, so next time, which will be Tuesday, because I was thinking about doing a stream on tomorrow, but I had to edit these spots. Tuesday will be the Moonbridge storyline, and hopefully I don't accidentally start the quest, because I have a feeling it's gonna happen, at some point. It always does, usually. Not really. And then I think the week after, not the week after, but the stream after the Moonbridge, I think I'll do another grinding session for EXP. See how much I'll get in the next stream. And again, it'll be roughly 2 hours because the totem lasts 2 hours. And depending on what's going to be in the Genshin 2.7 updates, I will have at least 1 or 2 streams on that. I don't know how many, at least 1, on the week of the update, so that'll be a week after next week, something like that. And I'll figure out where I'll go from there. Oh, I really want to be level 250. Why does it take so long? Well, hey, at least the penalty for losing all your HP is not EXP anymore. It's just a buff that prevents you from getting much EXP. Thank goodness. I don't want to have terrible flashbacks anymore. So anyway, Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you all next time.